I started, like if somebody wanted to pay me to write something, I would just write it. And I learned a lot doing that. But at a certain point, I realized I wanted to write something that had my voice. That was the movie that I wanted to put myself into something. And so the project started with Mark, and we tried to put it together as like a low budget film. And we almost got to make it. And I had the sense that, if the script wasn't amazing, no one was going to really see it for that month, for low budget. And I mean, just saying, oh, I want to make the script amazing. Okay, whatever. Like, that's great. But I mean, so it just was, I was really hard on myself, and I would take advice from whoever I could find, and I let lots of people read it. And I did lots of staged readings with actors, just like trying to hear what it sounded like coming out of actors, with different actors, because I thought it'd be interesting. So I did like 5 staged readings of the script with totally different casts, just to see how different actors perceive, like how their tone changed the feeling of it all. But then, and we almost made the movie. We had a distributor, we had a director, but it fell apart. And then this weird thing happened where it suddenly got so Mark decided that maybe the way we can remount the movie, and I totally credit him for this, is if we can get a big actor to because we thought the script was really good. If we get a big actor to somebody with some kind of box office appeal. So he actually out of pocket hired a casting person in LA to just send it out. And the script kind of took on a life of its own. Suddenly we started getting a lot of interest in the movie and in the studio system, which was completely not at all what we expected from it. I mean, I kind of thought, oh, I'm writing this thing for myself, basically. And then that sort of led to a whole other life of the movie, where it got bought by Fox Searchlight, and suddenly we were making it as a studio movie, which was a whole other adventure.
That's right. I think that's when I first became aware of the project, and I think we first met somewhere around those years, where it had gone from, I originally was making this small Canadian independent film, and just to try and boost its profile, I put it out into the ocean, and back comes this tsunami of interest from the studios. And we started talking because we were both at the time working in America from Canada. And then the script had the sort of added benefit of not just trying to get that script made, but also opened a lot of doors for me as a sample and to start working in the studio world. But Mark was the first person who was on board, from that, and having him as a partner was, having a partner that had brought different skills to the table, but was also going to kind of keep pushing it was incredibly important. And you also realize, like, when I say I've been working on it since 2005. I mean, it's not like I was writing it every day from 2005 to now. I mean, but I think, you get somebody on board and they push it as far as they can, and sometimes they can't quite, and then somebody else comes on board and they push it a little farther, and you keep accruing people. There's like so many executive producers on the movie. It's like cray cray. I was going to ask you about that.
But part of that is when the movie takes 9 years to get to screen, it's a lot of people to push it along.
It's a legacy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and there's a lot of times in that process where it can go off the rails. And sometimes you're also you're trusting the people, you have to strike this very odd balance between being very careful about who you partner yourself with, but also you have to trust people. Like, at a certain point, you have to let other people do their job. And it's and so that's the balance, trying to be a good, as a writer, what are we supposed to be an expert in? It's human nature. So I try to sometimes put the same attention I lavish on my characters to my partners as well, and try to figure out what makes them tick, and whether they're people that I want to spend time with, just like the same people that I'm spending the time with fictionally in my work.
In TV, we call it reading the room.
Yeah.
The first person to be on board was Fanny, the producer. She was the first to say, cool, let's do this. And after that, like I said, we built the team, but like a year and a half before filming, so I was still asking for money, I asked Sophie Desmarais, she's a young actress from Quebec, if she would like to be Sarah. So she said yes, and she really helped me while I was finishing the script. She gave me a lot of ideas. She read like maybe 10 versions of the script. She really knew who Sarah was. Sometimes she would read a version and say, no, this is not Sarah. She wouldn't say that. Yeah. So
you're like, no, she says it.
Yeah,
it's right there.
Yeah, sorry.
I am the god of this world, and she says it now.
Yeah. Well, and Sophie has been praised for her performance, and I think well, she's talented, but
breathtaking.
she had the time to really think about her character. She lived with Sarah for a year and a half.
She
really
developed
knows
the
it.
character with the screenplay.
And
that's really cool.
I love this creative process with her. So the next film I'm still doing with her, and we're doing the same.
The actor is supporting you with all kinds of creative and talent support. And what is Fanny doing to? Is it just like that? Your next short film gets into Cannes, and boom, it's okay now. Is it that simple?
Well, not that simple. I still had to write a good script. You know, getting into Cannes is not like the key in itself. You have to have a good script, and this is the same thing for my next one. You know, I went to Cannes, but I won't have it for millions because I went to Cannes. Well, I don't think so. So yeah, I had to have a good script, and Fanny, like I did, learn throughout the process about producing, and we just built like this dossier, you know, for Sodec and Telefilm that was really strong.
Yeah.
We had every actor said yes, so we had a lot of big names from Quebec that accepted like this 20 years old girl script. So it gave me a lot of credibility. I really worked hard to show I was ready to do it.
I love how the actors banded together to help push it along, to help in spite of those who would assume, perhaps rightly or wrongly, that a young group of artists who has not yet been tested deserve the investment and the time and the skills of senior artists who have been around the block and have had the experience before and willing to share that. That's an awesome story. I knew about some of it, but I didn't realize so many people had been a part of getting it to the screen.
We're not here doing this for the money. Because it's not that obvious a financial gravy train or whatever. It's a calling, it's a passion, and I think that's what sort of motivates everyone off the top. And hopefully, when you get into that groove or you've proven yourself, then you can kind of start to figure out ways to actually survive in a more easy manner, because it's not easy. Definitely.
So take, for example, a team you're interested in. They've been put into development at your program. Yeah. And how do you approach, all of us have written feature screenplays, and all of us have rewritten them with the input of people we respect and admire. And what's it like to watch screenwriters in particular?
Oh, I love that part of it. I mean,
deal with their first...
It's so different. Every filmmaker, every writer is different. I mean, you know, sometimes I'm dealing with auteurs, writer-directors. I really wish in some ways, though, that I was dealing with more separation between the two, because I actually find that there's very few directors who can really, really write.
Is that really true? Because I know all screenwriters who are only screenwriters feel that no directors can write.
Yeah,
but
I think so. I think so.
It's just him and me, really.
I think so.
That feel that way.
No, I think so.
I try
Obviously,
to give them
Chloe is the exception to the rule.
I try to give them grammar tips that are wrong, so their scripts just like appear to be nonsensical.
And then, you know, they have to bring you back for the rewrite.
They have to have, I mean, a really strong visual sensibility. I mean, like if I think about the auteurs that I've worked with and sort of their vision and that component of their toolbox or their craft or their abilities is such a, it's almost a driving force, sometimes big, more so than the actual screenplay itself. And I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, good. Because I try and make sense of it still sometimes too. But development is different for all of them. If I stick with Rhymes for Young Ghouls, because they're all so different, every writer, every team creates a unique situation, like every producer, director, everything. You know, some directors don't want the writer anywhere near set. Other directors are happy to have them there every day. There's just so many different ways you can approach it, and that attitude on set happens in development too. So
it's set in development, actually.
Yeah. Very much. You know, sometimes it can be very cagey in different ways, but with Rhymes, I mean, I think the biggest thing was actually getting convincing Jeff to focus on something other than Blood Quantum and something that was low budget. It turned out it wasn't so low budget. It was 1.5 million, or the most expensive film we've done to date, probably, other than Rude or Cube. And it was about getting to a draft, really, because it was his second screenplay ever.
But his first one, writing to a tangible goal with people waiting at the other end with big expectations.
Yeah.
And full disclosure, the reason I'm sounding so insightful on Jeff's project in particular is because I was the screenwriting mentor.
Yeah, we brought you
on the project.
Really early. Yeah, I actually asked you to come on when he was writing the treatment to help him with that process, in terms of, rather than just sort of going into the draft, to sort of come out with we were developing the artist as well. We were developing the screenwriter, because the screenwriter, when you write just for yourself, because you have no expectations that it's all going to change tomorrow, and nobody's ever prepared when it does, you have a way of doing things. And then you get as far as you can get, or as far as you're going to get for now, and then you go looking for people to work with. And for every writer, that when it's time to go out, show people what's in this binder, it's different. My first drafts are a disaster, and I do that on purpose. But in Jeff's case in particular...
Me too, totally.
Yeah, no. Come on, every time you write a draft, a major studio picks it up and wants to make the movie. Not the last movie, but the next movie, and all this kind of stuff. I think it's going all right there.